Hello, and welcome to another segment of Rock Your Block. I want to take this time to thank you for all the wonderful calls that we've been getting and the emails, and I just ask you to keep them rolling. I have a question for you today, and I want you to be totally honest with yourself. The question is, are you overweight? I asked myself this question about a week ago. And the first time, I wasn't very honest with myself because I was eating a bowl of ice cream and not one cupcake, but two cupcakes. So I said to myself, oh no, you're just a little plump, you're not overweight. But later on that night as I prepared for bed and I looked at myself in the mirror, the answer was overwhelmingly, yes, you are overweight and you need to do something about it. Today we have in the studio Dr. Alancia Wynn, medical doctor here in Northern Virginia, and I've asked her to share with her knowledge about obesity here in Virginia and actually in America. And she has a personal testimony that she can give herself. So please join me in welcoming Dr. Alancia Wynn. Dr. Wynn, hello, how are you today?
Fine, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Thank you so much for pulling away from your busy practice and coming to share with us today.
Well, I think it's very important to talk about this topic because obesity is a huge problem both in Virginia as well as in the country at large.
Yes, that's true. I agree. Dr. Wynn, can you tell us just a little bit about your practice and how long you've been in the business, and just share with us about Dr. Alancia?
Well, I am a board-certified family physician, and I'm in solo practice, which means I'm the only doctor in my office, and I'm right here in the Merrifield area in Fairfax. I see all ages, elderly, children, average adults, everything you can think of.
Right. So as you have already said, and of course I concur 100%, obesity is a problem in America, and I don't know, maybe even in the world, but right here in America, I know that it's a problem. So what do you say about that?
Oh, absolutely, because the CDC, the Centers for Disease Control, have done statistics to monitor the amount of obesity, and it's just getting worse every year. The last year that they have statistics for was in 2008, and they were saying that in general, across the country, 35% of adults are classified as obese. And surprisingly enough and scarily enough, 17% of children and adolescents are already obese.
Well, that's really something that you brought up about the children, because I'm thinking back to when I was a child, which was 200 years ago, by the way. You hardly ever saw any fat children. I mean, I'm thinking about my kindergarten. I can go back that far, kindergarten and elementary school days, and kids were pretty healthy. I mean, every now and then you would run into someone, but I was in the store a couple of days ago, and I know this little boy could not have been any more than 5 years old, and I think he weighed about 100 pounds, and I know that's too much. What is your take on children? What do you think is happening?
Well, I think a lot of it is the lifestyle that children lead. I mean, when you and I were children, we'd come home from school and we would run around outside playing with our friends in the yard, and we would stay outside for hours and hours riding our bicycles. But now children come home and they play video games or they're on the computer. So they're a lot more sedentary than they were before. And a lot of times now they eat more junk food, a lot more processed foods, high-calorie snacks, a lot more sugary sodas, things like that.
Right. Do you also think that, and this is probably a somewhat of a social problem, when you think of the 70s, 1970s and compare, there were more mommies or caretakers in the home, so that when that child got home, like you said, they had chores, they had homework, they had snacks, healthy snacks to eat, and then somehow, women are in the workplace more, and so you have a lot of latchkey kids that come home and they just, whatever is there, cookies and, that type of thing. Do you think that has had a little bit to do with it?
I think so, and I also think that because we have a lot more two-income households, families tend to eat out more than they used to, and so they eat a lot more fast food, pizza, fried chicken, burgers, French fries, those type of things, and that's going to contribute to that as well.
Do you think the fast food industry will ever get a light bulb going on that maybe, we can have fast food, but isn't it something they can do to make it more healthy?
That's a double-edged sword because some of them are trying, but a lot of times they'll come back and say, well, we tried to put this healthy item on our menu, but it didn't sell.
Right.
So then they take it off the menu because they're saying that we're only selling the high-fat foods because that's what the people want, so that's what we're going to sell.
Well, I'm remembering, I'm going back again into back in the 60s and the 70s. If you ordered a bag of French fries, it was maybe 3 or 4 French fries. And now when you do that, it's just, and I've seen drinks that have gone from like 6 or 8 ounces to, 32 ounce. And I guess that's full of sugar, probably, on that. Right. And the way the foods are prepared with the grilling, who knows what, I don't know if it's pure lard that they're putting in there or what, but it has not helped us, I don't think, a lot with the fast food.
Absolutely. Well, it's not even the fast food, it's all food, really.
It's all
because
food.
Even if you look at the dishes that you have in your house, if you have your grandparents' dishes in your house, their dinner plates were about the size of our salad plates now.
Right.
Just the plates have gotten bigger, and as the plates have gotten bigger, the portions have gotten bigger. And you go out to a restaurant, all of a sudden they're serving you on a plate that at one point used to be a serving platter, but now that's a dinner plate.
It's a dinner plate.
So the servings have just gotten out of control, and so people are used to that. And so if they get a smaller portion, they think that that's not a proper portion size. So we've gotten our decision as far as what a proper portion size is, it's skewed. We don't know what a proper portion size is anymore. And
obesity is a direct, I think, link to some of the health challenges. Can you speak to that?
Definitely. Yeah. Again, the CDC has done studies on this, and they say that an average obese person has about $1,400 more in medical costs per year than someone who has a normal weight.
$1,400 more?
$1,400 per person per year. Just from being overweight.
So if you got a family and everybody in the family is fat, you can multiply that a minimum by 1,400.
Absolutely, and that's not even counting the lost time at school and lost time at work from being sick, from being obese. It's $147 million per year that this country is spending on medical care because of obesity.
Oh my goodness. That's alarming.
And it's just getting worse. Every year it's getting worse and worse.
Well, what do you think are some of the reasons why? I know for myself, as I said earlier when we opened, when I asked myself the question, am I overweight, the first time, I was sitting there eating 2 cupcakes and a bowl of ice cream. And to tell you the truth, I didn't really have a taste for it, but it was like I was driven, like I had some work that I knew I was going to have to stay up all night to take an online exam. And I felt like I needed to have this comfort of ice cream because I do like ice cream. I felt like I needed to have this in order to be able to do the task that I had. Is that some type of neurotic problem that I have?
Oh, no, not at all. Not at all. It's very common. In fact, most people at some point eat because they're not hungry. They eat because of some other reason, because they're bored, or because they're stressed out, or because they're lonely, or because they're worried about something. So it is that comfort from that food. Or sometimes you have what I like to call food pushers, which are friends, family, who if you try to watch what you eat, they say, oh, aren't you going to eat that? I made this just for you, and you're not going to eat this, you know.
Wow. That's a good point, because I'm remembering back in the days when I grew up in Tennessee, in Memphis, Tennessee, actually. And my grandmother would fix these meals, and you could not leave the table until you ate everything on your plate.
Because there were starving children in China.
Right, that's true. That's right, exactly. So unbeknownst to her, she was actually forming some bad habits.
Absolutely.
Because I'm like that now. I'm saying, okay, you didn't eat everything on your plate.
Right. And children, when they're young, they intuitively know to stop eating when they're full.
Right.
When they're no longer hungry, they will stop eating. But if they have adults telling them that you have to eat everything, they will learn to ignore those cues.
Wow.
So as they get older, they don't have those cues anymore.
We talked a little bit about obesity and bad health and having health challenges. What are some of the health challenges that it's a known fact is a direct or indirect result of poor eating habits?
There are several. High blood pressure, diabetes, high cholesterol, even osteoarthritis, which is just the general most common forms of arthritis, gets worse from the extra weight that your body is carrying, especially in your lower limbs, your knees, your ankles, your feet. That's going to get worse just because you're carrying more weight on those joints. Because for every pound that you are carrying on your body, that's 4 pounds of pressure that you're putting on your knees.
Oh my goodness, and what is that doing to your heart?
Exactly.
Oh.
And so, and fatigue, chronic fatigue,
Yeah.
fibromyalgia, there are so many things that are contributed to, if not caused directly by obesity.
So putting away that extra cupcake and that extra cup of ice cream will start making a difference in extending your life.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Wow, that is amazing. I'm just blown away by some of the diseases that you say can be cured or maybe lessened. The effects can be lessened some. Wow. Wow, that is, I just cannot believe it. Well, tell us a little bit about, I wanted you to get a little bit more into your practice, the kinds of things that you do in your practice.
Okay. As far as weight loss?
As far as weight loss, or even just in general, because I know you are really involved with a lot of the women's issues that women have. And so we'd be interested in knowing that.
Okay. Well, I do the full gamut. So I take care of people with high blood pressure and diabetes and cholesterol. I do well woman exams.
Okay.
But I also will write for birth control pills, or if women are having any type of issues or chronic pain or any type of pain, really. Even anxiety, depression, stress, headaches.
Wow, so it's all of it.
All of it.
Well, we're going to take a short break, and then we're going to come back, and we're going to hear Dr. Alancia Wynn's testimony. We'll be right back, so don't touch that dial.
There's a movement afoot. Arthritis is America's most common cause of disability. Walking just 30 minutes a day can ease joint pain, improve mobility, and stop the progression of the disease. Start moving now to prevent and control arthritis. And let's move together to raise funds for a cure. Join the movement and participate in the arthritis walk in your area. Log on to letsmovetogether.org and start moving today.
Hi, thank you, and welcome to Rock Your Block. We are interviewing Dr. Alancia Wynn, and we're talking about the subject of obesity. Dr. Wynn, I know that you have a testimony because I remember I've been to the practice. You're actually my doctor. And when I first met you, you looked a lot different than you do today. And I am so impressed with what you've done. And I'm making a commitment right here on TV that I am going to do something starting today about my weight. Because some of the health challenges that you listed before break, one of those that I'm having troubles with now, and that's the osteoarthritis, and it could very well be because of some of the eating habits that I have, like the ice cream and cupcakes, the sugar. I can't seem to get off of. So would you just tell us a little bit about your testimony?
Okay, well, you can see that was me about 2 years ago.
Amazing.
And just like a lot of people, I was working long hours and not really paying attention to myself and doing a lot of stress eating and just eating out a lot and not really paying attention to portion sizes and proper foods. And next thing you know, I was 65 pounds overweight. So I first had to decide that I was overweight and decided to do something about it. Actually, I was obese at that point.
Is there a difference between overweight and obesity?
It's just a degree.
Oh, okay.
As far as how much over your ideal body weight you are.
Okay, so at a certain body weight, you become obese.
Exactly, exactly.
Okay.
And we judge that based on what's called a body mass index, or BMI, which you may have heard people talk about.
I've heard about that, but how do you calculate that? I've never understood how that's, I mean, can I tell my own body? What's my BMI?
No, it's actually a very complicated formula, but if you just go to the CDC website and just put in on the search block BMI, it'll come up with a calculation. You just put in your height and your weight, and it'll calculate it for you. Because it's based on your height and your weight.
And I can just go right to the CDC website. Okay.
Actually, if you just did a internet search on BMI calculations, there are probably other sites that will do it for you.
Oh, okay.
But I know for sure that the CDC website does it for you.
Okay, all right.
And so if your BMI is 25 or less, you're considered at normal weight. If you're 25.1 to 29.9, you're overweight. And if you're 30 and above, you're obese.
Oh my, I'm going to do that. When I get home this evening, that is what I'm going to do and try that, because I don't know what my BMI is on that end. So you were telling us about, wow, 65 pounds over.
65 pounds. So I started exercising regularly and watching portion sizes and eating lots more fruits and vegetables, smaller portions of meat, and a lot more, like I said, vegetables and salads and healthier things. So it was a combination of things. I still have my occasional treat, because to me, a life without chocolate is not a life worth living. But I'm smarter about it. Instead of having a big Snickers bar, I'll have one little 1 ounce piece of chocolate.
Right.
And that's enough for me. And so you have to make choices and make decisions. I mean, step one is to make the decision that I need to do something about my weight. So you've already gotten to that point, and that's the hardest part.
Well, I was going to ask you, my looking at myself in the mirror and saying, yeah, you need to do something about this. You are. Well, what do you do to those people? Because I've actually had that happen where you say, okay, I'm not going to have any cake. I know I've got to go to this reception, but I'm not going to have cake. And there are people there, friends, oh no, I made this just for you, or I know that you like coconut, so here's this. I mean, what do you do without hurting someone's feelings?
Well, you can do a couple of different things. You can either eat lightly the whole day before. Say if you know you're going to a reception in the evening, have a small thing of yogurt and a light salad for lunch, so you don't eat very much that day, and then you can enjoy the food you have at the reception. The other thing is you can pick and choose the foods that are really important to you, rather than eating everything. Say, okay, I really want that piece of cake, so I won't eat all of this. I'll just have the vegetables and a small amount of this, and then I'll have the cake.
Right.
So it's all about making choices.
Making wise choices.
Exactly.
Right. Well, it was one question that I had meant to ask you earlier and I forgot. Is there a difference in the obesity of men versus women? Or is everybody just way out there? Everybody is fat and overweight.
Everybody's overweight and everybody's obese. It's both men and women. Women tend to have more of a problem, especially, everybody has a more problem as they get older, because as you start going into your 40s and above, your metabolism starts slowing down.
That's true. Yeah.
So you have to work harder even just to maintain the weight that you are. And so it's much easier to gain weight as you get older. Women have more of a problem than men, because men typically have more muscle mass than women do.
Right.
And so the muscle mass is more metabolically awake. It actually burns calories, whereas fat does not. Fat just kind of sits there. Right. And so the more muscle mass you have, the more calories you burn throughout the day, even as you're just sitting or sleeping or anything. And so if a man and a woman start trying to lose weight at the same time, the man is most likely going to lose weight faster because of the higher muscle mass.
I've noticed that, yeah. I was going to ask you that, because I've noticed that men seem to be able to lose weight just like that.
Right.
And women, it's a lot. What about seniors? What do you recommend for them? Because I know that as they get older, sometimes I've seen some that are so small and frail, you wonder if that's really healthy for them, if they need a little bit more meat on their bones. What would your advice be to seniors?
Well, in that case, I wouldn't say that they need to gain weight per se. They need to gain muscle.
Oh, okay.
And so they would just need to work on exercising. Because as you get older, you do tend to lose muscle mass in general. So if you're not exercising, you're going to lose muscle mass that much faster. And that's what makes people frail and unsteady as they get older.
Right.
So the more active you are, no matter what your age, the better off you are.
Right. What are some of the emotional issues that you think would cause people to really have a problem starting and staying on some type of plan? wellness plan?
The first thing is that a lot of people who are overweight have usually tried to lose weight at some point in the past with some diet of some type. And the thing about diets is they're miserable and everyone hates them, and they don't work in the long term because they're all about deprivation. It's I can't have chocolate, I can't have cake, I can't have X, Y, or Z.
Which makes you want it even more.
Exactly. And it makes you confident until you're off this stupid diet.
Right.
Whereas you have to think of it as, okay, this is the way I'm going to live my life. This is now my new lifestyle. Because whatever you do to lose the weight is what you're going to have to do to maintain the weight.
Right.
So you have to lose it in a way that you can maintain it for the rest of your life if you want to maintain the weight loss.
Right.
So that's the main thing, is that you have to say, this is not a diet, this is not a temporary thing for me to lose weight. I'm getting healthy.
Right. You're changing your whole, it's a lifestyle
It's a
change.
lifestyle, and it's a mind change.
It's a mind change, that's right. Well, I would say that there are some people who they'll listen to the show and they'll be able to sit down and just do it. And then there are others of us, like myself, who need a little bit of help, you know, to get there and to maintain and stay on that new mindset. What do you recommend for that? Do you have anything in your practice that would help someone like myself?
Absolutely. As I was going through my weight loss journey, I decided that not only am I doing this for me, I'm actually more of a role model for my patients. Because I've had several patients who have wanted to lose weight, have asked me, how did I lose the weight? And said, wow, you're really encouraging me to try to lose weight as well, because if you can do it, then I think I can do it. And so I put together a program, and again, it's all about making healthier choices. It's not take these pills, it's not buy this prepackaged food, it's not that kind of thing. It really is all about teaching someone the proper portion sizes and how to make better choices. So when you first start my program, I just want to see where you are. That's the first step. So I just have you keep a journal of all the food that you eat for a week and whatever exercise you get for that week. And then I take a look at it. I always tell people, don't change anything, don't try to impress me, don't try to make it look good for that week. I just want to see exactly what you're doing to maintain your current weight. And then I look at it and discuss, we talk about ways that they can change and what they can do and better choices that they can make. And then I'll have them do a 2-week program where I have them have no sugar, no sweeteners, no alcohol, lots of fruits and vegetables, kind of almost like a cleanse, really, because it's getting your body used to not having all the processed foods and the sweet foods and the sugars and all that. And then at the end of that 2 weeks, we talk about what worked and what didn't work during that 2-week program. And then we move forward as far as me being a coach, talking about the changes you made, talking about what's working, what's not working, answering questions as they come up, and just work through. So everybody who's doing the program is doing it a little differently because they're doing it the way that works for them.
Right, so that means doing it the way it works for you means that you could be in the program a year, maybe some people 6 months, you know, or maybe longer, depending on whether you stay. Well, when I look at this picture, you know, you're cute here. I mean, you're heavy, but you're cute. But I look at you now, and you're absolutely glowing. I mean, your hair, your eyes are sparkling, your skin is beautiful, everything is just together. So losing the weight, is that like getting impurities out of your system so that hair and other parts of your body just kind of radiate?
Absolutely, because you're eating the foods that you were built to eat. Because a lot of the foods that are processed have a lot of chemicals in it and additives and things like that. And once you get used to eating healthier foods that don't have all that in it, you can't go back to eating other foods like that anymore. You can taste the difference.
Okay.
When I first started, I thought, well, what's the difference between, you know, rotisserie chicken and baked chicken? It's all the same. No, you can taste the difference.
Right.
And you learn how to use other things other than fats and oils to flavor food. So you get better with spices and herbs and other things that will flavor foods, and that kind of wakes your taste buds up.
I was thinking about the taste buds because some of the seasonings that you mentioned, we probably initially don't even know what they really taste like because we've been eating so much salt and sugar and other things that are not good for us.
Absolutely.
In your plan, do you help people with the type of foods that they should be eating?
Yes, absolutely.
And that, what about juicing? Is that a part of?
I leave it up to the person. I mean, I
Okay.
have a juicer, so I juice
You
at
do
home.
juice, okay.
But not everybody wants to do that. So if they want to do that, I absolutely encourage them to do that. And we talk about how to do it the best way. But if they don't want to do it, they don't.
Right, they don't have to.
They don't have to.
Dr. Wynn, can you tell our viewers how they could get in contact with you?
Yes, like I said, I'm right here in Merrifield. I'm at 8316 Arlington Boulevard, Suite 234. My telephone number is 703-560-0300. And also you can find me on the web at www.winfamilymedicine.com.
Couple more questions, and I know that we're almost out of time, but what about health care? Will health insurance companies pay for or support what you're doing, the wellness program that you set up in your practice?
Well, some do and some don't. Medicare does. They have a special program for weight loss. Some other insurances do, depending on what type of plan. So I would say for anyone who is interested, they should just contact their insurance company to determine if they would cover it or not. And most times they'll cover it if you have other health issues like high blood pressure, diabetes, and things like that.
Very good. Dr. Wynn, it has been such a pleasure to have you on the show. I want to ask you, will you come back again some other time and just keep us posted on obesity and the wellness of our people?
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. And thank you for joining. See you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.